Yeah.
So, all right. Hello, everyone. A very good evening to all of you. Warm welcome on behalf of me. I'm Vaishali Doshi, and today I will be your host for this interesting webinar we are going to have. Most of you who are listening to this know me, but I'm Vaishali, have been living in Finland for 15 years. I work as a sales director at HCL Tech, and working and volunteering for the community is my passion. So I'm here as one of the board members of Indian Women in Finland, and I'm also the president for Friends of India in Finland. So when I mentioned Indian Women in Finland, if you are seeing this video, or if you're on our page, you already know who we are, what we do. But just for people who are not aware, Indian Women in Finland is a peer support group. We are 600 members strong. And this group or the platform was created for information sharing, experience sharing, for practical guidance and focus for women, empowerment of women, and highlighting the social benefits for women in Finland. We've been around for more than 8 years, and we've done many initiatives. And this Wecare series, it's special to my heart because I was one of the early ones starting this at IWF during the COVID times when physical meeting was not possible. So we started this webinar. And in the Wecare series, we are focusing on various social and societal issues relevant to women, focused again on women empowerment, things that matter to the day-to-day living of women in Finland. But the topic that we have today is not limited to women as such. It is mainly around work life in Finland. If somebody wants to know why did I move to Finland, what is it like working in Finland, how to be successful in Finland, or how one of our speakers said, how to network like a pro, skills you need to navigate in the Finnish work environment, then you're exactly at the right place. And I have two wonderful guests with me who are going to speak about the nuances of navigating the work balance, work life in Finland, and how to succeed here. So, with that, let me introduce our first speaker, Camilla Sultanova. Camilla is what I must say, networking genie, if that's the right way of telling, who's been living and working in Finland for over 10 years as a speaker, diversity and inclusion consultant, and also energizing event host. I think she's had a career in Denmark and Finland, and she's a versatile entrepreneur helping businesses and immigrant communities in Finland thrive when it comes to access about job market, navigating Finnish social and professional networks. She's born and raised in Uzbekistan and a big fan of Indian Bollywood and food. Thanks, Camilla. That's good to know. And she's also been a host to one of our biggest event, India Day 2023. I'm really glad and happy to welcome you. So, hi, Camilla.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. It's a big pleasure to be here and engage with you this hour. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Sure. And Archana, could you quickly introduce Emmy?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Vaishali. And I'm Archana Krishnamurthy, and I'm also part of the IWF board for the last 8 years. I'm happy to introduce our next speaker, Emmy Matveyev. Emmy works as a global talent acquisition lead at Silo AI. The center of Emmy's philosophy is the connection of recruitment to both organizational culture and company's results. Today, Emmy will talk to us about the Finnish work culture and how it differs from the other work cultures globally. And she will also give us insights about the competencies needed for a Finnish work life. And on a personal note, Emmy is known for her charming smile and she loves good food and wine. Thank you, Emmy. And Emmy will start today. The floor is all yours now.
Yeah. I think before Emmy starts, let me give me a little bit of context to this. Of course, as you all know, in the practical sense, we are live on Facebook and other social media channels, but this session is recorded, so we will have a YouTube video for you to view it later if you're not there. You could still ask your questions in the Facebook chat, so we will take it up towards the end of the session. And I think a little bit about the event or the topic today, because Finland is a trust-based society. And if anyone asks me why I moved to Finland 15 years ago, then I was always saying it's because of the ease of working here, the work-life balance, the honesty, the trust, the punctuality, and the list goes on. But of course, everyone has their own experiences on navigating around the nuances of working in Finland. And that's why we have two experts here who are going to tell us a little bit of hacks and tricks for your smooth landing and smooth sailing in your work life in Finland. So over to you, Emmy, with this, and eager to hear some tips and ideas from you.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks for the introductions, and thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure. And good morning from Vancouver, BC, Canada. I'm currently here working and helping our Vancouver site to grow. But good evening to all of you, and hope you have had a good day so far. But yeah, like Camilla mentioned, that first there will be like a small disclaimer about the job market in Finland before we are going to the working culture, and I will also tell a bit about me and my journey. But shortly, I would say that at the moment the labor market situation in Finland is not the easiest one. So there have been layoffs in the industry, but then at the same time, there is a need for employees in other sectors, such as early childhood education and nursing, and of course, like elsewhere, our job market can be influenced by other economic factors and global trends as well. But today, if I think about how, like, my point of view into this discussion is especially from the tech industry side. But shortly about me, who am I? My name is Emmi Matveev, and I'm working as a global talent acquisition lead at Silo AI. I've been working around 8 years with recruitments, and the last 5 years, especially with tech recruitments. And I've been working both as a recruitment consultant and then internal recruiter. But my work history is actually in social healthcare. So I jumped into business in 2016, but before that I worked in our social and healthcare sector in many different positions there. And at the moment, like growth and companies' growth through recruitment and talent matching is close to my heart. Then I will share my screen to tell you quickly more about Silo AI. Hopefully you can see the screen now. So shortly about us, who we are and what we do. Silo AI is an AI consulting company, but most of all, we are a service company. So we want to provide our services to our clients with their different needs regarding, for example, machine learning, computer vision, NLP, and so forth. And for the past couple of years, we have been growing. So currently, we are in the Nordics, in Finland, Sweden, and Denmark. And then we opened our business here in Canada in 2022. And our newest opening is in the Netherlands, so going towards more Central Europe. We also have salespeople in the US and Germany, and actually Norway, but we do not have business entities yet, so no technical experts in those 3 countries. And yeah, as you can see from here, there's around 300 of us, and from that number we have around 250 technical experts working with us, and then the rest of us are other experts like me who will then work in recruitment, sales, marketing, finance, etc. And we have different core positions in the company globally, like AI scientist, AI engineer, software developers, to name a few. And most of our AI scientists, they have very strong academical background. So most of them have done their PhD. Some of them might have done some postdoc research or other work in the academia before joining us. And then our AI engineers, software developers, and others, most of them have done their bachelor's or master's, and after that they have gained their knowledge and expertise working in different companies and industries before joining us. And under these main position titles like AI scientist or AI engineer, there's lots of different expertise. It really depends on what people have been doing during their careers before joining us. So there might be both computer vision experts and MLOps experts, data engineers, and so forth. But yeah, we want to be our clients' trusted and strategic AI partner. So we are developing our clients' products further and better with our expertise. And I would say that our company culture is very important to us. So I would say that there's we want to keep learning in the company and share our own knowledge to others, but also learn from others, because there's so many different expertise in the house. And how that can be seen in practice is that of course our experts, they learn new things during those client projects, but there's lots of internal activities to support that too. So we have different learning labs where there's different themes to be discussed. For example, like this one we are having today to talk about the different working cultures. And then we have these virtual Friday team lunches, and then there's always one project team who will represent the client project to the whole organization. And that's very nice forum to see and hear that how many different projects we have and how many different clients we have in the company. And then from time to time, we have also other silo social activities. For example, last week here in Vancouver, we met together with the team and went to try curling. And that was actually first time for me as well to try curling. But I think it was quite difficult, but fun. Great, but that's shortly about us as a company, just to give you some context in which kind of environment I work at the moment. But so what is the Finnish work culture like? Maybe a bit of history. So we have a pretty strict guide overall to employment in Finland by our legislation and collective agreements, and it's kind of based on those. But then I would say that within these organizations can create their own work environment and company culture as they wish. And in Finland and in the Scandinavia, I think we also value the work-life balance very much. And I think that also our labor legislation supports it. Yeah, if we think about, for example, that how people get annual holidays in Finland, and that's because of our Annual Holidays Act in Finland. And then if we think about there were also a couple of things already mentioned here. So Finnish working culture is characterized by several things in my point of view. So the punctuality. So I would say that being on time for meetings and appointments is important. Then the work-life balance, as mentioned, equality and trust. Then I would say also like efficiency in a way that I would say that in Finnish working culture, people prefer to focus on tasks and get things done promptly and effectively, rather than engaging like unnecessary meetings or bureaucracy. Then I would say that one of the elements is also self-leadership, and that's been growing and growing, especially during the pandemic years. Then I would say direct communication. So Finnish communication style is typically straightforward and direct, and people tend to speak their minds openly, but of course with a sense of respect and professionalism. But then also sometimes when people tend to speak their mind so openly, I totally understand that sometimes they might sound a bit rough or hard, but they don't mean it to be that way. Then even though like independence is valued in Finnish working culture, I would say that like collaboration and teamwork is also one of the elements in today's working culture in Finland. Of course, understanding these cultural norms can help all of us then integrate effectively into different workplaces, and then like grow the positive working relationships with colleagues. Then I was thinking that, okay, that how Finnish work culture then differs from example of North American work culture. Because now I've been here, and I also spent last spring here in Vancouver. So what are the differences? Well, maybe one big difference is also the language. So as we know, in the tech industry in Finland, most of the company languages, like most of the languages in different companies are English. So Finnish is not needed anymore, but the tech sector is then again like one small area in the total overall labor market in Finland. But of course, we are working on that in Finland as well, step by step, that there also would be more and more companies who would not require Finnish as a working language. Then I would say that the work style and flat structure is one difference. I already mentioned about the work-life balance. But also like the working hours. The working hours are longer here in North America than we have in Finland. Here people don't get that much, for example, annual holidays that we do in Finland. And that's also be one of like silos, employer branding, or how do we stand out here? So we want to offer our employees here also like 4 weeks paid holiday on an annual basis, and that will differentiate us here locally. Then again, about the communication, I think that's a big difference. So here people small talk a lot, and as you may already know, that yes, people in Finland or Finns, they tend to speak openly, but maybe sometimes people are a bit shy, or we don't do small talk that much in Finland when we start the conversation. So it's been also a good learning for me here as a recruiter, that when I'm conducting interviews, of course, first it's always good to ask that how people are doing and how the day has been. But then usually people here, they keep talking about the weather and how do they exercise, or the groceries. And then myself as a Finn, I'm kind of like, okay, but now we should, get going and start the interviewing. So it's been a good learning for me also to practice my small talking skills here. And then also, as you know, in English language, people use a lot of the word please. So could you please do something, or could you please help me with this? And in Finland, we do not have like a similar word to that. We have different ways of saying please, but not as the similar word. So that's also good to keep in mind, that people want to be polite, even though they might not use the word please as much as others who speaks English in their native language. And then I would say that the decision-making process in Finnish workplaces often involves like consensus building and more democratic approach. So in North America or somewhere else, it can vary widely depending on the organization. Yeah, and then I would say that also like the diversity and inclusion, I would say that both Finland and North America value diversity and inclusion in the workplace, but then the approaches to achieving these goals may differ, and Finland and, for example, like European Union has made efforts to increase diversity and inclusion in recent years. But of course, there's lots of work to do in that area. We are never ready, and it may still lag behind still lag behind. But that's something that we can all work on in our everyday life. Then I quickly mentioned about the COVID earlier, and how did the pandemic years, how did they affect the Finnish work culture? And in my opinion, during pandemic years, the Finnish work culture took like a huge step to working from home. But of course, this is again like where applicable. So for example, in the tech industry, we know that all of the works in Finland or around the world, they cannot be done remotely or working from home. But I think the pandemic years changed a lot of like thought patterns in Finnish working culture and attitudes about working from home in different organizations, because like where it was before maybe more like under policies, or that people just didn't realize earlier that you are able to do the work at home as well as at the office, that it doesn't matter anymore where you do your work. Because I think that before pandemic, it was like we were so used to go to the office in Finnish work culture, so people didn't even even think about it, that hey, could I do my work from home? But then I also think that this like pandemic years, they kind of like blurred the like work-life balance in a way that there's not that strict personal life and work life. Now it's a mix. And nowadays, some of the organizations in the tech industry, they are also working in a hybrid working model. So people can choose to work like mostly remotely or mostly at the office. And then some teams and or organizations, they have decided maybe some specific dates when they go to the office to meet each other face to face, and some not. But it definitely changed the thought patterns that how can you do your work outside of the office. And for example, that's one of the reasons that I also had changes in my personal life during the pandemic years, but also work life. So we have offices in 5 different cities in Finland at Silo AI, and I'm originally from Helsinki, but I moved to Turku 1.5 years ago. So Silo is also like half Turku-based company, and during the pandemic years, I started to think in Helsinki that okay, like how I would like to live now. I'm working more from home. I need more space at home. So then we decided to move to Turku. So luckily Silo has an office in Turku, so there were no changes job-wise. But I was looking for like more space at home and also like better price quality in housing. Then I also have lots of friends in Turku, so I already had connections there. But why I wanted to share this is that, of course, Helsinki is the capital nowadays, and most of the jobs are in Helsinki or in the Helsinki metropolitan area. But the job market conditions can also vary between different regions of Finland. So I would encourage everyone also to check if the different companies you might be interested about, especially in the tech sector, if they have offices also in other cities than just in Helsinki. Because Finland is a small country, but also big country outside of Helsinki. And
sorry, yes, so just being conscious of the time. So if we could have a wrap up in a couple of minutes, then I would also want Camilla to give her side, and then we can have an interaction because there are a few questions that have already started coming up. So maybe in a couple of minutes, if you could just...
Yeah, you were right on time because I was just about to start to hand over to Camilla.
Okay.
So I quickly mentioned at the beginning that my study background is in social healthcare, but then I jumped into business in 2016. And how did that happen? Well, that happened through my networks, and my network helped me in that. So that being said, I want to thank you for your time listening, and I will gladly hand over to Camilla to tell you more about the networking and how your networks might some point help you further in your career.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
So a couple of things I picked from your thing, which was very much close to my heart 15 years ago when I moved to Finland. Very often people used to say that don't mind it, but they used to say Finnish people are very rude. And I was like, why? How does this come across? But then it was exactly the same, that you all were more straightforward. You write it in few words what you want to express. And the Indian context was that we will write a long paragraph of the same message. So the Finnish people felt that Indian people are not direct because they never understood what was the message in between the long paragraph. But I think it's also because of the societies we come from. This is more individualistic society, very straight, and the Indian society is more collective. So there's more context around a message. So I think that I think when one knows the difference, then it's easy to navigate. Otherwise, it comes out a bit strong. Another thing, I come from Mumbai city, so getting late is natural. It happens because of the environment and the surroundings. You can be late because there's traffic jam, or the electricity goes back in the days or something. In the Finnish context, everyone is punctual because you reach from Espoo to Helsinki in exactly 17 minutes, then it is 17 minutes every day. So giving a reason like you're late because of something doesn't work in the Finnish context. So yes, being punctual is highly important and respected because everything goes as per the plan. There's nothing impromptu or out of the blue. But very good points, Emmy, and at least these two were something I could immediately relate to 15 years ago when I started. But with that, Camilla, I think let's hear your side. You've been also around for 10 years in Finland, so I'm sure you had interesting journey, ups and downs and learnings.
Thank you, Vaishali, and thank you, Emmy, for bringing us the whole futuristic insight to your company. I'm very excited, and I think with all the layoffs going on, I hope that your company stays up on the curve and expanding to Netherlands. If I never lived in Nordics, I'll probably move to Netherlands. I like their upfront and also the sense of humor. So all the best also in your expansions. I do also disagree with the people that Finns don't small talk. I think for sure that there is the idea of like, okay, they smile a lot, but don't really talk. Yes, there is that understanding. But I think we need to know Finns, in my experience, Finns do pre-programmed small talk. And that's called a coffee break. And if you invite each other on coffee break, they're like, and it works. It's just known that you can intrude somebody's space and say you are legal to talk in that space because you're not taking somebody's time without agreeing in advance. So maybe that way I would kind of encourage people to say like, yeah, they won't small talk. They will just agree in advance that this is the time for you to chat. At work, at school, at PhD, I don't know where people are in this space. So that was my also addition to that. But very nice to have you, to be here and to spend time with you now. It's what, 5:30? I'm here in Wecare, Eastern Helsinki. And yeah, 10 years, as Vaishali said, it's a like round figure, and you can't help and think like, oh, what have you done in 10 years? And I want to share a few slides, more just also pictures to say like, okay, where it's been, as I have long geography, born, raised Uzbekistan, and then moving to Denmark, and then bringing my Danish experiences, and now building on my Finnish. So I'm truly Nordic nerd, and I love the life and opportunities there is to me out here. And for sure, my story keeps building. We are evolving. I don't know if I'll be here for the rest of my life, but I'm happy where I am right now as a young mother, and having all the opportunities to impact my community. Today I'm with you, with one of the immigrant communities, and then tomorrow I'm with the business and professional union. So really, the work on inclusion and diversity that I do is very, very allows me to be with all kinds of organizations and across Finland. So that's my show off of my India Day hosting. This is the year in August, and there's 30,000 people in downtown Helsinki. That rich diversity that India represents. And thank you for bringing that rich flavor from India Day, and all the Indian communities are serving this beautiful day for us to have fun. I had a mehendi, I wore a real sari, and I had to volunteer as like the rest people, and I really enjoyed making new contacts and hopefully, work with them as well, because we're here to stay, right? So yeah, I want also, we are living in a very crazy times, and I don't know about you, but I'm going through a lot of distress with all the terrible events. So I do want to show solidarity with the problems we see in Palestine, the war, the terrible war, and the war in Ukraine, that's just 2 years, and also all the women in Iran and Afghanistan that are going through a lot of suffering. So yeah, my story goes back to like, how do you network? What's the network like a pro thing? I want to show you for something to give you as a fellow immigrant woman. I moved also here as a spouse, even though my husband is Finnish. Still, it didn't give me any free network. He was worse than me in, you know, he wasn't really open to introduce me to people because he didn't know a lot outside the logistics industry. And I wanted to change my space. So here is this, for my experiences of my moving as a young person to study in Denmark, and then how I transitioned when I was 30, I moved to Finland, okay? So imagine studying, you need to have a scholarship always. I didn't have parents to pay my tuition. Cleaning jobs to survive, all kinds of cleaning jobs. I used to clean all these exhibition centers where now I speak. So this is cool. I do help my parents. So Western Union money transfers, where is it cheaper to transfer? Now we have all kinds of fintech solving these issues. Residence permits, Jesus, we had to put 8,000 euro to showcase we had the money to extend a residence permit. Terrible. Burnouts, obviously, I had burnouts before I knew it was burnout. And so very different of ways of belonging, learning yourself on your own inclusion journey. So yes, feeling difficulties finding friends. Denmark is also quite reserved in terms of finding connections and networks. Then relocation to Finland when you're an adult is hard. It's difficult. And it's like, again, finding your new routines, roles, reactions to things, and new relationships. And it's all, you know, it takes a lot of patience and courage to do that. So then I got married super late. So I call this very late love, marriage, and baby carriage. So imagine the pressures I had from my parents in Uzbekistan. So, And so, yeah, today I'm an immigrant, I'm a mother, and I'm an entrepreneur. So I do work with different customers on their diversity inclusion journey. So companies, universities, NGOs, professional unions, all things to push for Finnish muscles to be inclusive and also representative. But yeah, I started with a container sales job. I used to sell spare parts on the vessels, engaged with like these big captains and chief engineers on big vessels, like tanker vessels that carry liquid goods. And now I also train those sea officers who I have, you know, a relationship to from my past career to really explain to them why we need diversity, equity, inclusion, why we need to think also of our own biases and not just expect to be included, but also question what we think of other people based on their different identities. So yeah, just some pictures before I go through it. I think communities are absolutely amazing and needed. These are just some of them. This is from my work. I speak on Nordic stages. Then I have worked my way through a lot of volunteering. And here, this is Norwegian Crown Prince, his organization that I work with. And he's still active in this, Global Dignity. And yes, I think you know the guy on the left. And Barack Obama, I met also as a recognition for 10 years of work in diversity, inclusion, and activism. Yeah, I think there's a language. I don't know, Vaishali, if you can recognize the language on the bottom right, the Hindi, right?
Yes.
Yes. So this book we translated in COVID to help young people also be involved in thinking about their dignity. Such a concept that also relates to all of us here. So I want to leave this on the mindset side that we are not having the privilege of speaking the dominant language of Finland or Swedish. We don't have the family relatives to open us the doors to get through the jobs in the space we would want. And it allows us to, of course, it makes us feel vulnerable when we know that scientifically and reportedly, fact-based, that we have discrimination, racism here based on your name. And we have statistics saying that 52% of women who moved here for family reasons, that's some of you and me inclusive, 52% have changed their background, professional background, or got another degree, re-educated themselves in order to get a job. So that means if you have a degree, which necessarily doesn't get you to an interview or a job, it may be that you need to get another degree or just look for another job. And that's okay. But I feel from India, there's so much, STEM related experiences that could be directly useful. It's really about building your Finnish brand, Finnish personal brand that's relatable and understand how the recruiters like Emmy would look at your CV and see what value do you bring to the table. So, but still, at the heart of it, we all have dignity, and we all should be understanding that everyone has access and deserves the best opportunities to thrive, and also opportunities to be a business unit leader, politician, you want to be a teacher, you want to be a board member. We'd never thought about it. So we need to also think how you can build in the future your board member position brand. So that's something we have opportunities for these days as international women working and living in Finland. Yeah, so this is just some crazy projects that I had done before, and I also give back to Uzbek community in Uzbekistan. And I want to also show you this picture where representation is everything. We need to have a role models. Without knowing that there's someone ahead of us or someone that's doing similar work to what you want to do or speaking your cause, it's kind of hard to feel the ground in here in Finland. And these people are all internationals. Amina? Just a moment. Come here. Just a moment. Yes, Herman. So these all people are internationals. They work for all the projects involved research. They work on engagement on tech. They work on research in how to help mixed Finns thrive here. So these are all the role models that help me do my job. And there's also Namrata here. I don't know, Vaishali, if you recognize. Second row first.
Yeah.
So there's so many doers that are making this whole Finnish space inclusive for all of us. So find your role models. That's one of the examples that I would like to give you here, and see how they're building their career path or their life in general. It's not just for your professional identity. There's so many ways to boost your well-being already for those who are in Finland. Yeah, and so when you think of networking like a pro, I'm just trying to think of 90% of international working women in Finland here. Okay, we have a scope creep here. Give me 1 second. I will put on mute. And
no worries.
Yes.
You can handle that. But
yes,
if you have,
just a moment.
yeah. So, Emmy, meanwhile, there was a question about somebody, especially in the HR, so your field, we can take that up. So there was a question, someone asking that, what are the options of job market in the fields like HR or sustainable development management kind of areas? Any ideas?
That's a good question. I would say that, like I mentioned at the beginning, that currently the labor market situation in Finland is not the easiest one. Also in the HR field, but I hope that it will get better during this year or then next year. But good to follow different places like Duunitori.fi, LinkedIn Jobs, and others to other job sites, because there you can see all the opportunities. But yeah, as mentioned at the beginning, it's not the easiest one.
Yeah. All right. I think Kamila is back.
Yes, I just put her new Moomin series, and thanks for asking questions in between. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the part
No
where the networking like a pro comes in is really noticing the obvious. What needs to be done before you even think like, okay, I'm ready to go in and shake everybody's hand and start sending my CV or approaching for opportunity to meet for coffee, to chat about opportunities for your career. It's really to make your digital brand visible. Before you even start thinking, okay, I want to look for a job, like look at what does your digital profile already say about you? During COVID, I've reached, thousands of students, professionals looking for jobs saying like, yeah, digital presence is very important. A lot of, in Finland, Emmy, you would say, are on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is #1 place you need to make in order to start actually just going through and sending requests, because let's face it, you're not going to send them in Instagram or Facebook request. It's not really a professional space. Another way is like question, do you have any career coaching opportunities in your space? There are a lot of free opportunities available in Helsinki city, but then every city in Finland is actually competing to make you live in their postcode. So ask for opportunities for Espoo, Helsinki city, international spouse programs. There's even one in Vaasa, and there is a Tampere International Ambassadors program as well, where all you want to do is to be visible and to start getting into any community, to become also like the expert in your field, and to showcase that, hey, you're here to show up and you want to learn more, you want to gain your social capital. And one of the 3 steps I want to consider is that you're building your network is first is basically you're already doing it now because you are in IWF group, right? The IWF is people from your country. India is huge. You are different already in one group. So, and that way gives you already finding the common sense and relevance. You get engaged and you kind of get those, if you volunteer like Archana does so many years, you get the pat on the shoulder, you get recognition, you're giving back, and you're showcasing what you're worth. The second step, once you're already safe and sound and already know how to engage in one first network, is the next network where you also can grow, like let's say International Working Women of Finland, okay? Or you have the specific to your industry, Service Design Network of Finland, for example. So that is the next level. You go in again, you engage, you meet people, and just a moment. And then you meet people and engage with them to show what you can do with that network. I will just give her. Here we go. Иди туда. Иди на диван. Okay. And the third level is going outside even of Finland. With my experience is the European Young Leaders Network, which I joined. So every network gives you that sense of belonging and safety, then that they recognize for who you are, and you are absolutely have something to offer, and you can grow your not only national, regional networks, you can grow your presence and expertise in European networks or even global networks. So for many of you who arrived to Finland, you already have some connection networks in India or anywhere else you're coming from and watching this. So think about those networks' value is also quite big to Finland, because someone recognized you abroad, high chance they will already want to know that in Finland. So don't underestimate it. We volunteering with India Day in August gives me also ways to connect to Indian companies that I know exposure to Indian culture. I know India now is the largest country in the world, and I want to be affiliated in a way that really feels authentic to me, where I can add value. So that way, your volunteer engagement is maybe unpaid work, but still every engagement you do in these communities, you also need to think it's a professionally done work. So be accountable, be likable, be relatable. It all starts from delivering what you are there for. And community is not a Facebook group where you just be an observer. There are ways to be an observer. For example, I'm a group in Mother Network group. I can just read through the post and see, oh, is there something I'm interested? You don't need to be active everywhere, but those where you need to be active intentionally gives you also, let's say, the return on investment. And you need to think, okay, I'm an architect, I'm a teacher, or I'm a dance teacher, or I want to be in AI design. Where do I need to do? Which communities I need to be? And I think in IWF, you have already so many people involved that engaging and asking them questions on LinkedIn, sending them relevant questions that they can answer is the right way to start. I give an example. So now we're speaking here today. After this webinar, there's something that catch your mind. You can send me a request and say, Camila, I heard you speak on a webinar. So asking a question would be saying something relevant to me that I said, use that sentence that got a trigger to you and ask me then question, what is it that you would like to know more? Or give feedback, which is not only positive, but say something that, hey, I did not agree on this. What's your take on that? So in a way, engaging at webinars, at seminars, live, hybrid, in person is the really way to start engaging with people who want you to be noticed by. So I know Emmy will get a lot of requests because you're an acquisition specialist. You're the royal thing. But how to make sure that you do it relevantly, you are useful, and you're asking politely. You should also remember, if the person doesn't answer immediately your request, just ask again. Just wanted to follow up. There's sometimes this misunderstanding that we take it quickly personal, say, oh, she's not interested. She doesn't want to help. He doesn't want help. They don't want help. Life happens for many of us. So what you want to think is to be useful with your feedback, actionable feedback, give feedback based on engagement here and now. Never send a LinkedIn request without personalized invite. And continuously also comment on the LinkedIn posts to show that you're really interested in that work. And asking for advice, referrals, recommendations also shows that you treat the other person with respect and you actually and genuinely are interested to get their help. What also thinks when you're in person, the handshake must be firm. Different countries, different cultures. There are also countries where you don't want to give a hand. So you want to just consider how you want politely to say it. But still, handshake should be firm. Don't squeeze the ring into it, but give it a nice one and look in the eye. We have all the international names. When we have international names, it's really hard to pronounce. They're very easy in Finland. Everybody gets a nickname. Did you know that? It's okay for Finns to have a nickname. So, and that doesn't mean you're too friendly. It's allowed. But drop your, how to use it. There's two options to say your name. Hi, my name is Camila. Pause. Camila Sultanova. My name is Archana. Archana, is your last name Shetty?
Krishnamurti.
Krishnamurti, I'm sorry. Archana Krishnamurti.
Krishnamurti.
Sorry. I didn't hear.
No.
Yeah, so
Continue.
Archana, if your last name is too long, just drop your last name and say, hi, my name is Archana. And just focus on your first name because the person won't remember, high likely won't remember, but at least for the context now, make it easier for them to pronounce your name slowly. And what happens to us when you're sitting there in front of a person, you're like, am I interesting enough? Am I going to have a nice engagement first replic? You go like, hi, my name is Camila Sultanova. So you kind of run through your name like a horse race, you know? So slow it down and say, how are you going to think about how you're going to make your mark, right? So really genuinely interested. I think, okay, my biases in people from India, Southeast Asia, Central Asia, we're all likable. We like to smile. We're taught that way. We are taught that way, women especially. But what will make your mark is truly knowing what you're asking about. And there are tons of LinkedIn professionals to help you brush your LinkedIn CV, brush your even video CV, help you how to do it, and make sure you have topics to write content about and think about, okay? As international women here, there are tons of communities, and I will leave a list after the Facebook list in the comments. So for sure, definitely engage, write about yourself, share about your different diverse, rich culture of India and other countries, again, where you're from, because people need to know all of the joy we have here in Finland. We don't need to go to the world. The world is already here. We need to start engaging and being curious about each other. And what can I say to the end with this? Not to remember your culture and your personal self. Two questions I want to leave you with. What's the life you want to live in Finland that's authentic to you? Does that require, you know, dancing your stuff? You have your holies and Diwalis and this, you have your other languages spoken. how would you like to live the life authentic to you? How many vacations do you want to have? Do you want to write a book every year, or do you want to help with, helping with cat shelters, whatever shelters? And the second question is, how do you want to make your mark? I leave my mark on stage with the microphone. I want to share a piece of me when I perform, and I want to connect to all cultures and saying, I'm you because you're me. But you got to find what makes you leave your mark. And in that sense, career is one thing, family is the other, but your own unique self, you got to promise to yourself, not going to forget your beautiful self out there. And Women's Day is coming up. 8th of March is our day, and let it be every day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Camilla. That was quite a good high. On that one, I could also just pause and say that at least the Indian women in Finland, we are having also a big celebration. We have the mayor, a deputy mayor of Espoo as our chief guest, including the ambassador. So
I saw.
Do join us. You will follow it on our pages. A very interesting panel discussion. So do join us for the International Women's Day on 8th of March. But I liked where you ended before that was be yourself or be your authentic self, because I think all of us are an individual and we carry a personality, also the heritage and the culture where we come from. It's good to kind of mix in. It's good to be also a part of where you work or your environment, but don't forget yourself. Don't forget who you are and where you come from. I think very, very, very important. And maybe with that, I have a question that has come up.
Yeah.
So Finland as such is also very flat society, both hierarchical wise as well as gender wise. The roles between men and women are considered to be more flat. There's a lot of focus on DEI, but is it really so? Do women still stand equal status in terms with regards to men? That was the first question. And then the second question was, as women of color, is there some racism or some kind of favoritism that exists in workplace?
Yeah. So the gender, is gender equality really gender equal? Is that the question? The first question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it so really? Yeah.
No, unfortunately it's not. We live in an idea that, gender equality, all the Nordic countries can come up and say, we're winning the gender gap of World Economic Forum. But if we're looking about the parental leave, and actually we spoke about it with Emmy yesterday, even though there are better parental leave policies for supporting men and women, we know that only 10% of men take that. 10% of men take that allowed parental leave, because it's always a question of who is working and who is earning more. So for sure, this also lags women in their pensions and their access, because they're losing like structural inequality that we give birth, and we need to be away for some time from the market. So we need to still engage with our families, creating the support network to kind of break the norms that, we come from other cultures, right? And I mean, I'm still fighting with my parents on this, so because my husband is very supportive of me working, and the good thing with Finland is like 46% of ambassadors are women. 46% ambassadors of Finland are women. That's amazing. MFA, well done. Do they not have sexism? Of course, there is instances, and they're working on it. Every public institution, organization is working to make themselves diverse and inclusive. And if they don't really, then it's of course diversity window dressing. So the second question, and I think Emmy, you want to add it from your side. Yes, there is a lot of racism. There is a lot of cultural hierarchies, ethnic hierarchies going on, and I did already mention in the beginning that it's very difficult to break the unconscious biases that exist, especially when many companies are small, middle-sized companies. There's so few companies that are having inclusive hiring policies, and this is what I always say. Regardless of that, there's a lot of opportunities for first-time movers. Yes, if you go outside of capital region, there are different cities with their industries, but you're supposed to be still a first mover. And if you're this adventurous type, you are able to go on with your career and dreams. I think you definitely can break the glass ceiling for rest of us. So I think, yeah, it's really not easy. Women have takes 10 years for immigrant women to get to the level of employment as fellow Finnish women, and 15 years to reach the same economic level of fellow Finnish women. So for sure, maybe even longer for it's a whole generation. But this shouldn't stop you. Everyone has their own story. And what are the choices that you have left behind? The reason why we're here is the opportunities and the prospects for us and our kids. So think about that.
Yep, well said. Sure. Well said. Emmy, is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, maybe quickly. Thanks, Camilla, for the great answers. And maybe just to add that I think it's very important to talk about the gender equality or racism. And the most important thing is that we are talking about it so that people can recognize their own biases, and that there's like people like Camilla who actively goes to different organizations to talk with people about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then it's also important to listen and understand that, okay, like where the other person's thought patterns, where do they come from, and that way also go that discussion together, so we can all have those like go those step by steps together to understand each other better.
All right, that sounds good. So I think we're about the time on this seminar. As a summary, I would just like to still say that Finland is a trust-based society. The concept is trust and get trusted or be trusted. It's an excellent place for work-life balance, be punctual. There's a lot of good benefits from an HR perspective working in Finland. But to enable that, I think as Camilla, you said, be yourself, be your authentic self. You take the initiation, you take the first step, reach out. I always tell, if I don't answer once, reach out twice, and I promise I will always answer. So reach out and you will be heard. So yeah.
Don't just write hello and be quiet.
Exactly. Yes.
I agree with Vaishali on this, that we have to reach out a couple of times, and as you said, Camilla, leave a mark, and Emmy pointing to the exact way.
Archana, I am infamous for need for reach out many times, but I still respond at some point.
Right.
All right. Okay, but I think with this we can end the session. Thank you so much, Camilla and Emmy. Appreciate your time, appreciate your insights, and people who are watching it can also leave your comments later on. We'll try to respond to them, or I'll mark Emmy or Camilla to respond to them. And this will also be on the YouTube. So thank you, everyone, and have a good evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for your time.
Cheers.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, take care.
Archana, you can